Hello, my loves. Today, we're gonna watch Dr. K from Healthy Gamer and Miss K answer people's personal questions. So I'll just hit
Slide 14 is a whole self-failure.
What the heck? Why is it doing that? Let me refresh it. Hold on.
Okay, so then what you need to do is you change.
Okay, I'm gonna mute it for a second, and then I'm gonna bring it to the screen. I'm fighting for my life. Hold on. Yippee, we did it! I'm gonna move me over here and make me a little tinier. Okay.
Bar, including all of our coaches, mods, editors, everybody. And I have the privilege of leading this incredible group of people, and we're growing thanks to your support. And I just kind of want to show you a little bit about how we're growing, what we're doing with all of the support you guys are giving us. So at 3,000, we kind of broke even. At 4,000, we really wanted to be able to stream more, but we needed to make sure that we had the resources to do it well because, as you guys know, streaming mental health content takes a little bit more than other stuff. So we are able to add a new stream, filmed a new show that we're super excited to kind of put out there later in June. Another big ambition of ours was we've been collecting data for like 6 years on meaningful change in anxiety scores, depression scores, sense of purpose, sense of meaning, sense of control over your life. And actually, there was a poster about our content at the American Psychiatric Association this week. And we really want to plug in more with the academic community. There's so much incredible research that we get to show you guys, but we want to also give back and say like, hey, here's what we found works. So that's a big initiative of ours. And then kind of in that vein, we're wanting to grow the HG Institute. So if Healthy Gamer is kind of undergrad and grad school, HG Institute is for kind of the most advanced stuff. So it is for therapists, for coaches to get continuing education that's approved by the American Psychological Association, by the addictions groups, by the social worker board. So this is like approved official mental health education over at the Institute. And that team has been doing amazing. And then, of course, our real thing is take all of our tech and products that we've built and put it into a mobile app that does a little bit more on everything, really, but just to kind of give you guys more. So that's what we are doing with all the support. And thank you guys so much for, it's incredible what we've been able to build with you guys over the last couple of years. So thank you so much. Okay, and then one more thing I wanted to share with you guys. There's a free community event going on right now. So especially if you have bought the LSR guide and you're wanting to do more of the skills part, this is where that is happening. So it's a free challenge, and every week has a different focus. So we're going to be in this Get Closer week right now.
Okay. For you that don't know, like the thing that they're mentioning right now, Dr. K from Healthy Gamer is a Harvard-trained psychiatrist, and he makes a lot of like mental health content, and he has a Dr. K's guide to mental health. So it's like a really cheap guide to like things about ADHD, anxiety, etc. This right here, he just made one for like relationships and such. So they're doing like a challenge for that. If you want to link to it or something, I could find it and send it to you.
So this is really about communicating, kind of the tough stuff that happens in relationships that I'm sure we'll talk about more today, and really sharpening social skills through small acts of showing up. I know I'm guilty of this, where to me, if I'm going to get together and do a social thing, then it becomes this whole, to me, if I'm going to get together and do a social thing, then it becomes this whole big, like, cloud over my head to be perfect. And if I'm going to talk to one person, then I need to talk to all my friends, and then it's almost too much. And this is something I've personally practiced, is smaller acts of showing up, and it's been amazing. And then next week is much more about finding that sustainable routine, keep growing. So finding what's sustainable and fulfilling, and really a lot of introspection here. Oh no, Alok's mouse scrolls up instead of down. Literally everything about Alok's setup is so backwards from mine. Anyway, this is what we're up to. Allison, our head of community, has been amazing. Our mods have been amazing. I'm really proud of all the stuff that we're doing this month. So thanks for being here. I'm gonna switch. Okay.
That was such a nice transition.
Hi. All right, Trevor, are you around somewhere? Am I supposed to be using?
Here.
Oh, you're in a pair of headphones. Hold on. Let me see. Are you on this one?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I don't. Can
Oh,
Stream
it has
hear
a
me? I'm not
little
sure.
thing for the sales of the guide.
Maybe they can.
So it's
But
love,
I'm
sex,
here
and
for you.
relationships
So
guide.
would you like your first guest?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so then I have to put these on properly.
Probably yes. And this will be for you. A question for you.
Okay, cool. Let me see how I can do this.
Awesome. Hi everybody. Hi Laffy. Hi Crow. Thanks, Mods.
Oh my god. Okay.
Awesome. All right. We'll bring this person. I think doesn't have their camera, so it'll be just voice. But here we go. Bring them in now.
Okay.
Hi, I'm F Tom. You're live on Healthy Gamer.
Hello.
Hey,
Ooh.
Tom.
How are you this fine evening?
I'm doing great. It's so great to meet you. How can I help you?
Is it question time? I just give you my question.
Sure.
Yeah. So when I watch your streams and Dr. K's streams, the impression that I get is that in certain ways you're quite different people. Just off the top
Amen,
of my
brother.
head,
They sure
I
are.
think I've heard Dr. K talk about during like his spiritual journey, if you want to call it that, you used to like tease him about it a little bit or like make fun of it.
Yeah.
And it used to, I can't remember exactly what he said because it was a while ago when I watched this. I think he said it used to annoy him a bit, but then it helped him.
Wait, are you
I don't
listening
know.
to
I'm trying to talk to Tom.
Okay, give me a second. Oh, do they not have camera?
He's audio only, but you go ahead and use
Okay,
the
yeah,
split
we're
screen.
fine.
That's fine.
Sorry.
They will at least have his name on there, but whatever.
Great job.
Go ahead, Tom. You're telling me how I used to annoy Alok.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what he said. It was something like it used to annoy him, but it helped him not take himself so seriously or something. It was something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Um, and when I watch your streams, they're more like I'm not sure what I'd call them, like external based or like material based, I feel like, whereas
Yep.
Dr. K's are a bit more internal, spiritual, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So I guess my question is if you have big differences in that way, like spirituality, I feel like is a big part of someone's life if they're into that kind of thing. And that's kind of different from your partner.
Mm-hmm.
There must be some element that like keeps you together despite like a big difference like that, because for example my parents are kind of similar in terms of their very different personalities and temperaments and interests and that kind of thing, but they've been together a long time and they're still in a happy relationship. Or conversely, I know people, and I'm sure you do too, who are like very similar, who are together but in like the worst way possible, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, what is it?
What a question.
Am I correct? Are you quite different people? And if I am, like, what is it you think that like, connects you or binds you together? Or
We are.
yeah.
I don't know how much more different we could be. I'm super extroverted. He's much more of an introvert. I play tennis. He plays video games. Like, we don't have hobbies in common. I think intellectually we like some of the same things, but what I like to talk about is not what he likes to talk about. What he likes to talk about, I could not find more boring. That's how this all started, actually, because he would keep talking to me about this stuff, and I was like, you need to talk to somebody else. And so I made him a Twitch account. I was like,
That's
who'd
actually
be
crazy.
interested in this is like everybody else. That's not me. So
Yeah.
let me set you up on Twitch. That's actually how this started. And the base of your question, though, around two people that are spiritually quite different is interesting, because that is like the one thing where we're quite similar but very different approaches. He is much more yoga based. He is much more introspective. He is much more kind of in the pursuit of enlightenment. And I'm not really interested in enlightenment. I like to have a good time. I like nice things. I am more practical. Kind of, you talked about that, like the material versus the kind of detached.
Yeah.
I'm not detached. I care a lot about too many things. But I'm tantric, so my practice is quite different. My practice is less intense, but that is one thing where we are actually quite similar, but different approaches and different objectives. My objectives are different with my practice. If one of us was very if we had fundamental different ways of looking at the universe, I think that would be different. But we both kind of have an energetic approach to karma and the way things work and why things happen and what's your responsibility in this situation. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is we have a similar sense of who is responsible for what. And I think when you're super detached, you can be too like, oh, what will be, will be.
Mm,
And when you're too attached, you can be too invested and kind of too selfish.
mm,
And so I think in that way, we balance each other out in the best way, where I'm like, okay, if you want to do this mental health for free thing, that's great. Your kids have got to eat. So what's the
yeah.
plan? You know, so we balance each other out in that way. And he's very like, yeah, our kids have to eat, but I really want to be mission first. And so it's like, okay, we can do it that way. Um,
Mm,
and I think having a similar moral compass and willing to talk about the conflict, where both of us have a very high sense of accountability and responsibility, I think that is fundamental to a good relationship. And also, like, we don't take things personally that much.
mm. Yeah, it's so fun. Like that is exactly how I imagined your like relationship in terms of I can imagine just like what you said, like Dr. K being like, no, we can't like chase views and we can't, it needs to be mission first. And then you being like, we need some views. Otherwise, we're going to
Or
be
we're going to have to
homeless.
get jobs. Like, pick one, you know? Like, yeah.
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 I'm actually going to pause for a second there to talk about that because I think it's such an interesting concept and something I've thought about a lot too, where it's like when you're looking at kind of like like the Buddhist style of detachment and not really caring too much about material things and how do I phrase it? Like, let's say that you actually achieve enlightenment. You need to make sure that you're still paying attention to the material things that matter to other people. And you kind of like have duties in this world that are material. Even if you don't require them, other people might. So, like, I may be happy going out into a mountain and meditating for years and not having any possessions, right? But my dog, he not about that, bro. He loves the AC. He drinks reverse osmosis water and he likes ice cubes, and we don't have any of that there. So, like, you know? And then you have to, like, if you're in a relationship with someone, you kind of have to pay attention to what material things they need also. Yeah, that's it. Also, I think there's a balance for everyone. I don't think it's like 100% material or 100% detachment. You can also be detached, like, mentally, and still have things. And I think that's like a very important, like, little caveat.
Okay, so it's this, so the thing that you really bond on is spirituality,
Yeah, actually,
or
that,
like your
and we
core
both,
values, I guess.
yeah, and we both like to read, but it's funny because the stuff that I am like, oh, this was really great, I want to talk about, he's like, ah, I thought that part was boring. And then he's like, oh, did you see this part? And I was like, I know, I skipped that part. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Fair.
Did you get the answer you're looking for?
Um, kind of. I guess I'm thinking like outside of spirit, or I guess you could call it like core values, I guess. Like say, um, yeah, I just know people who are like I know some couples who are so different and it works, and some couples that are so different and it's like, why are you two together? But like, yeah, I guess I'm wondering what is the thing that keeps the different ones together, or like what is lacking in the people that are the same, but it doesn't work, if you get me. But
Yeah.
I guess you could say that's like core value rather than like, spirituality. But
It
yeah.
is, but also if Alok, we talk about this all the time. If Alok had married somebody like him, like they would never leave the house. Like that would not end well. I don't think there would be a lot of affection or joy.
Mm.
So we talk about like, how you
That's interesting. She says that if Dr. K married someone like him, they would never leave the house, and there wouldn't be much joy. Let her finish the sentence, but I find I got things to yap about.
you wouldn't want to be with somebody that's just like you. If I married somebody that was just like me, I would probably be, I don't know, falling into a lot of the traps of like kind of material society of like,
Yeah.
chasing bigger house, bigger cars, all that kind of stuff. So I think you need the balance, but you have to be really intentional about what you want from each other. And it's not easy. It's difficult to kind of like know, okay, this is what I want. This is what you want. This is what you need from me. This is what I need to adjust to give you what you want, give you what you need, give us what we want, what we need, give myself what I want and what I need. It's hard. You have to
Yeah.
adjust.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So I
yeah,
guess it's like you balance it, the yin and the yang, if you will.
yeah, but I mean, some people need mirrors of themselves, right? Some people are more rigid. So
Yeah.
it's just what you need in life, I think.
Okay.
Okay,
Fair.
thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
Thanks very much, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Trev,
Okay,
which camera is it? Is it this front one in front of me, or is it this one over here?
Look straight ahead of you. Yeah, the front one right in front of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Want espresso
That's
martini in 5 to 10 minutes, or do you want like a coffee like right now?
If it's going to be 10 minutes, I'll take a coffee now. If it's in 5 minutes, I'm okay.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I directed you to the correct camera. We'll find out soon, but it looked
It's
good.
all good.
Would you like to
Okay.
take your next question?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to just check chat really quick.
Awesome. Let me know.
She just admitted she's high maintenance. I am. I've been pretty clear about this kind of from the start with Alok. I thought I was the front one behind her. Oh no. Trevor, they're going to mess with me. All right.
Let
Hi,
me take a
guys.
look.
This is so exciting to see. I know some of these names in chat. This is so cool to see you guys again after. This is great. Is it true you didn't want to date an Indian person? Yeah, I wasn't super keen on it. Mainly because I just didn't want to be in the same community that I really wanted to go out on my own and just kind of do my own thing. What advice would you suggest for someone who is in a period of lacking confidence? Okay, I'll tell you right now, even today, Alec and I both, our confidence waxes and wanes. Okay, so like there's never going to be a period in time where you are going to be 100% confident 100% of the time. I think you feel the most confident when you see yourself getting to where you want to be. So
That's interesting, because I took Dr. K as a person that doesn't have that much of a sense of self to begin with. Like, not that he never had one, but meaning that with his meditations and his practice, that there's like a lot of ego death, what he experiences. But I think partially because he's a content creator, being a content creator and paying attention to do well in content creation, I think almost requires the person to have an ego. When I say ego, I mean sense of self, not necessarily like being narcissistic, but I do think high levels of narcissism is correlated with good content creators because you have to pay close attention to how people feel about you, and you have to pay close attention to like all of the data. And if people think it like, if one video gets 100 views and another one gets 100 million, you're not thinking, wow, 100 people. You're thinking, why does this video suck?
Keep taking the steps that you need to. There's always going to be bumps. And the only way forward is through. So I feel like people that want to take shortcuts or skip steps, that's where your confidence won't be consistent. You gotta go forward. Gotta go through all the good stuff, all the bad stuff. Jose Ramos, I love your shirt. Where can I get it? Thank you. Actually, this is part of our mental health May package. So there's a bundle that has this shirt, which has, let me see if I can show
She's
you
gonna
that.
show the fit, chat. She's gonna show the fit.
Has
Mental health is sexy, ayo. Does she have more merchandise?
And Franklin,
Oh my god, you get these as a part of the bundle?
and this blanket.
I don't know why she thinks I can hear her. Sure, her mic is over here and she's over here. But maybe she's about to
It's
yap to
called
us.
Dr. K's Sexy Bundle. It's on our merch store.
Where's the link, bro?
Also, make
Paid
sure you
chatter,
talk into
for
the
real.
microphone.
Okay.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you. Okay. How do you decide where you want to be? Decide who you want to be. The where is just a means to get to who you want to be. How am I high maintenance? I need a schedule. I need a
Guys, I
plan,
found
need
the
comfort.
kits.
I don't like mess. I don't like clutter. I'm very particular with the way I like things done. And I have kids, so like it's not just like, oh, I want this plate. There's a lot going on, a lot to maintain. How do I unleash my full toxicity into the world? I cannot help you there. All right, Trevor, let's go to the next question.
Okay, I will be bringing you Dunku Howls. And I also want to remind you to talk into that microphone.
Oh, this one?
That's what I just said, bro.
Oh,
And here we go. Hey, Dunku, you're live on Healthy Gamer.
Oh,
And she is using a camera.
hi.
hello. Give me a second. I might want to set it up so that I can see you clearly.
It's okay.
There we go.
You try that split screen interface, Kruti. It's an interview overlay.
There we go. I can see you nicely.
Hi.
Hi.
Interviews
Hello.
Discord? Nope. Oi. You can talk. I'm gonna just try to find the right one.
You got it, but let me just pop in there and try to fix something.
Thank you. What's your name?
I love that little bookshelf. That's so cute.
Okay, my real name is Priyamvada.
Whatever you want me to call you.
You can call me Priya.
Priya? Okay, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Priya.
Yeah.
Hi, sweetheart. Oh, you're eating your cookie? That's so
do
nice.
I just explain the question directly, or do you want
If
to
you're
know
good, I'll buy you more
the
cookies
context
today.
where I'm coming from, or how do you prefer?
Guys, actually, can I interrupt you briefly?
What the frick? What is she drinking?
I'm not actually able to log in.
I want to drink stuff like this on stream. What is she drinking?
That.
I'm able to get Alok. Did we do it?
So I just need to be able. Oh yeah, he's got it.
Okay.
You're good.
Quick pause for a second. For whatever reason, Dr. K, who's a gamer and is on his computer all the damn time, he has technical difficulties every second of his life. I don't know what's going on when they stream sometimes. He's not doing nothing right now. It's Miss K and like Trevor and whatever. But I feel like he's always fighting for his life with his streams, and I think it's funny.
All right, cool.
Nice.
Why you
Okay,
sad
Priya.
Hi.
face?
Hi,
Let's say
nice
I
to meet
eat
you.
you
What can I do for you?
cookie.
Magic.
I will try.
um, but I'm joking. So yeah, I'm like
I want a
I'm
glass like that to
fairly
drink my
grown adult.
cafecito. No
I
more
have a
cookie.
job, figured things out, running okay. Um, but I'm coming to an acceptance or overcoming the idea that hey, I'm this adult who's become an adult but has no idea how to do adult, right? And I'm like constantly putting myself in trouble or like end up being in places that I may not have engaged before or like grown up the skills for.
Yep.
And then I'm like, I need an adultier adult right now. And then
Adultier
also
adult.
then the problem of not knowing how to healthily realize that I need help and then ask for help, right? Sometimes I would be
Miss
like just
Kate
sulking in
is
my
so
head, I
beautiful.
gotta solve this, but then I'm not able to solve it on my own, right? Um, to me, I'm well guessing, right, that you've grown from some certain place, then met with Dr. K, and then you guys like grew this business. It's been like good amount of experiences that you might have, but to me, I want to know like as adults, like individuals, when you guys started in your own life, I bet you guys probably were in similar boats when you guys were figuring things out. So I'm trying to like poke around to try and understand some things for myself that I can maybe adapt.
How did we
So
become
question,
adults?
yeah, better adults, I would say.
You know what, though? Okay, go ahead. I'm going to ask you some questions, but I think we might be less adulty than meets the eye.
Okay. So yeah, there were like three overall questions that I was sort of targeting to, which is how do you plan habits to engage socially and not act like these sensitive or lunatic people that just react instead of like properly being able to engage socially, be it friends or family or anybody. The other thing would be how to ask for help better, and the other thing would be how to figure out to take care of yourself in order to then figure out you are capable of taking care of the other partner or
Hold on, I thought she got one question. Anyway, I'll keep playing.
friend or family, right?
Yeah.
Like I barely am holding on. Not that think that I have nothing. Like I'm good. I have a job. I'm able to do things. I have an apartment. I have even a dog to take care of. Doing fine.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to like, oh, I gotta figure out how to hang out with friends. Don't know how to take care of my family. Don't know. Failed take care of our family. Like completely. Failing to take care of my mental health or overcoming traumatic situations. Don't know. Right, so I understand obstacles where I know I've come from a lot of failure. I'm still working on them, still failing, but also then not able to like always doing these catch up games that, hey, I gotta get this done, I gotta get this done, but then there's no social engagement, there's no a lot of responsibility that thing I should be doing, but I'm not able to do them. No balance and to do them.
Yeah, I
So
hear
sorry,
you.
too much.
No,
content.
I get it. It sounds like okay. So here are my disclaimers. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a mental health professional. All I do is osmosis all oak, and I
Osmosis all up.
just have my own experiences. But what you're describing sounds
Chat,
a
what you
lot
know
like
about
what I
osmosis?
would kind of talk a friend or a sister through. And so I'm going to approach it kind of that way, where you're asking about what sounds like time management, what sounds like understanding exactly what your responsibilities are to your friends and to your family. This is something I've struggled with, especially after having kids and having a large extended family that I married into. And like, how much can you do? How much
Is the
can you
audio
set
loud enough
expectations?
for the
And
stream?
when you show up, how can you show up in a way that you're proud of? And then your mental health, right? So were those the three areas? There was some skills development in
yeah.
there and some adulting. The first thing that like really comes to mind to me is if you are able to, do you have enough disposable income to where you can hire a virtual assistant?
What, I don't even know what's the virtual assistant.
Okay, I think this might help you out a lot. So a virtual assistant can basically free up some time. It sounds to me like you need more time. And I think an assistant can help you get your schedule together, and you can say, hey, I'd really like to see my friends. Can you find a couple things for us to do, and just plan it? And here's everybody's time, here's everybody's availability. Can you just figure something out? Or, hey, my mom needs my help on this and this and this. Can you please help me figure this out? I think it sounds like the reason I come to this is because I feel like a lot of our generation is managing too much, right? We are having to deal with ourselves. We have to do so much more for ourselves than we have ever had to do before. We have to take care of our parents in a way that
That's such an interesting thought process of like realizing that you kind of people have like a lot on their plate and trying to see if they can like hire an assistant, because a lot of like the culture and a lot of what people are doing are like either you can suffer or you can try really 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 hard to like manage, but people don't often talk about like you can just hire an assistant to do stuff. I think that's actually like a really good idea. I might look into that.
involves so much more effort than generations previous. And we take care of like our friends, our kids, your dog. So I think the amount of overall responsibility that every individual carries has just ballooned disproportionately. And I think everybody needs a little help. So I would encourage you to find an assistant that you can.
Is it like, I have some follow-ups on this idea of
Yeah.
virtual assistant. Is it like this now a lot, which has boomed in the last year and a half? Are you talking about using these AI LLM models as
No.
virtual assistant, or like an actual
No.
human being?
I'm talking about a human being that lives in a lower cost of living area that will then be affordable for you, and they can help you out 5 to 10 hours a week, take care of your doctor's appointments, take care of like your routine work. You can ask them to just keep your house stocked on certain groceries and just free up some time, is honestly what it sounds like you need. And then you'll have time to take care of some of the other stuff. And I would just kind of encourage you to poke around online and try to find a virtual assistant service and learn more. That to me sounds like a high impact thing for you. And then the other thing,
Chat, that goes kind of crazy, no? Like imagine if you had like an assistant that could help you do a bunch of crap that you need help with. Do I need an assistant? That'd go crazy.
on the skills building, a lot of our resources are for that. And I think if you check out the Heart to Heart or any of those events, I think that could be really nice on the skills side. That's something that we want to do more for folks. But the thing that you said that really stood out to me was around taking care of your family and your friend obligations. Can you say more about that? Like, it sounds like you want to be able to do more for people.
Yeah, because okay, thanks for bringing that, because I had the exact similar follow-up. But when you said that I should try to understand my responsibility, right? For me, like, okay, Indian background, we are grown up with the whole idea that, you know, family and friends are our entire lock social system, right? Be it work, be it everywhere, we end up finding family at work. We end up finding family and friends. So to me, I engage with the world like that, right? I try to be useful. I try to solve things. I try to help wherever I can. I don't try to look at myself as a failure where I fail to help. I try to do the best I can. But then there's certain obvious ones which probably I would weight some of the portions of my own personal mental traumas that I'm dealing with, that I'm just become a little bit avoidant person who's failing to like communicate or staying in this weird state where it's like I sulk not reaching out to family or taking care of them, but then also stay terrified or like being irritable person when I actually am there in person with them, right? It's so weird. But to me, this in back of my head have given my own self-belief that, oh my god, I'm such a loser daughter, person, sister, or friend, that I am not incapable of properly taking care of my family and friends. So, and I look at, like, people around me, or like people like you, they're like, how do you even like actually figure out that, okay, this is the right time? I'm okay to be healthily engaging with these people, that it's okay, I'll be able to take care of them, or sometimes even fail, because I feel like a lot of my personal avoidance comes because I end up thinking that, oh, I have hurt this person, or I might hurt this person more, or I have hurt other people in the past, so I might hurt this person. So I want to help them, but I'm not able to help them, and I'm failing at the same time. So it's like breaking the bridge of communication, but I'm now failing at the things that I really want to help people with, or like take care of. Sorry, I got scared because Dr. K just showed up and I thought somebody opened my door.
She's so real for that.
Scaring people.
She's like,
oh, but yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. Okay, so without getting too much into details, I feel like I've been where you are, where you kind of have like a constant like, okay, I was supposed to do this. I didn't do it last time. They're counting on me. I let them down. I don't want other people to count on me. I don't want to let more people down, especially in these large family networks. Like, you don't want to gain a reputation for being flaky or unreliable or cold or whatever, right? And I think it's really being able to set your own terms a little bit. So I was able to say, hey, on Sundays, I'd like to get together for dinner. Let's have it out. Because if I have to have everybody over at my house for dinner, I'm going to be running around and I'm going to be like, oh, this wasn't tasty enough. This wasn't hot enough. This person, I forgot, doesn't like tomatoes and I included tomatoes. Like, it's stuff like that, right? So I kind of was like, okay, Sunday night is my night to catch up with family. And the ways I can do that is I can come to you with like a small dish of something. You can come to me, but we're ordering in. I'm not cooking. Unless we're like through that layer, and until I don't have the anxiety of like, if I cook for you, you're going to be critical of it. Like, I don't cook. This is like my thing, right? Like, I don't know if I would call it a trauma, but this is a thing where I'm like, if I'm cooking for people, this is where my guilt loop and my hostessing tendencies are going to just set me up to fail. Or I'll meet you out and here's 3 restaurants. I'll see you there. And like, that's the end of it, right? So people know that like, hey, I'd love to talk to you about this more. Can we talk on Sunday? Or yeah, I can help you with your phone. Bring it on Sunday. If you need help before that, I think you should take it into the store. Or, okay, let me help you figure out whatever errands they are. Can we do it together on Sunday? And I just make it time bound. And I remove the thing that causes me to be anxious. So if it's like getting dressed up, I mean, some people where it's like, they're always going to be dressed to the nines and I just don't want to show up in that kind of pressured situation. But also, I think you get to decide who you want to be in your life. And if there are people that make you feel a certain way every time you see them, you don't have to pull them into your life so much.
Yeah, that's very insightful, because I think this is a good pathway to at least to understand that there can be um
Oh, why did it pause? That was
obstacles
weird.
that I
Did I hit
probably need to
spacebar?
poke
What
in
happened?
myself
I was
that
like, is it
are
lagging?
causing these hurdles for me to do, right? Um and I feel like I just end up sitting in a sulk mode, um, feeling failure rather than being able to act on it, and then not being able to see the hurdles, whatever it may be, right? It could be that it could be a time zone problem that I'm not calling them and whatnot, so I should try to do it more frequently. Or it could be that, oh, just do like a pass by, or like do some common hobby together, playing outside, playing basketball or something like that. So I feel like I just need to try to engage socially into things I really like, right? It could be small things like that, and not really sulking on the idea that, hey, I didn't see this person and I miss them and I'm breaking the bridges of communication. What do I do? Rather than, oh, like, I like doing this. Let me try to invite them over and maybe they'll come.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
Do it on your terms.
yeah. Oh my God, you too much information.
No, I know.
But this is really useful. I love end up finding people who are so different, so well, wise and elder to me. And then I can always pick on things that
Am
I
I
get
an
to like
auntie now?
experiment on myself. So yeah,
Awesome. Well, I'm
thank
so
you.
glad for you. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Dunk. Okay. You want to talk to
Oh no. Oh no. Sorry. Okay, Trev, you're gonna have to call back.
I think she
I
accidentally
did lose
disconnected her.
Trevor. I did. He'll be back soon. I'm not in the psychology field yet. I'm thinking about I'm actually gonna try to get into our next coaching cohort and become a coach. And
Oh,
I want to go
interesting.
and get an LMFT because I love family relationship stuff. So I'm not in the mental health field yet, but I just run all of the Healthy Gamer business operations. LMFT is a licensed marriage and family therapist. So hopefully, I don't know. That's just an idea I'm flirting with right now. What was the comment about lower cost of living? So what I meant is generally a personal assistant in your same cost of living. If you can afford it, great. And if you can't, get a virtual assistant that is offshore and affordable. Oh, look, I did something bad. I know, I'm here. Thank you. I think I just exited Discord, but I don't.
How's the drink, by the way?
Now, if
It's
Dr.
good,
K
but
knows
it's
how to
all
do
the way
anything,
over
it's open Discord, bro.
I guess this is configured for my arms and not your arms.
Whoop. Sorry. Did I? Oh, am I blowing people's ear out?
Hey, welcome back.
Hey, Trev. Sorry.
Okay, what are we?
It's okay. Are you guys ready for your next guest or no?
Yeah.
Chat, I just
Let me
cracked my
take
neck. It's
one
kinda nice.
here. What do you believe a woman's expectations and standards should be on a first date? Should the man pay? I think the first date sets the tone for the type of relationship you want to have. So in my case, I would want the man to pay.
I don't know if I agree that the first date sets the tone for the relationship. I think it's important to keep in mind, but on first dates with people, I always take them with like a grain of salt, because it's like people have all these ideas and baggage they come with on first dates on like what first dates mean, what does this person want, what do I want, what am I willing to tell this person I want. Like, it's very what's the way to phrase it? People aren't super genuine on first dates, and you don't really necessarily want them to be. Like, yeah, it'd be nice if you had all of the true information, but like, you can't just be like spilling like every thought and feeling you have on a first date, you know?
But also, I know who I am and what I'm capable of. And if he was really cute, I would pay.
How many first dates have I been on? I don't know. I haven't like tracked the number. Partially, it kind of depends. What do you consider? I'm gonna pause real quick. What do you consider a first date? Like, what's a date and what's just like meeting up with someone, like talking, you know?
In the first, I mean, in the early stages of our relationship, you were a lot more financially independent than I was.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to get closer to
I
the
know.
mic if you want to remind people.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
He wants you to know that he paid. He paid on our first early dates. See?
She's over here trying to talk, someone ask a question about paying on first dates, and he's like, "Hey, tell them I paid."
He set the tone.
It's
But I
usually
was very-
pre-established. You mean like it's pre-established if it's a date or not?
I knew that whatever I
Is that what you're
did,
saying?
I would be able to hold my own and then some. So I was comfortable.
Okay, so really important thing to note here about like dates with people. Dates are not always completely clear that they are dates. Kind of in the same way that flirting, like when you're flirting with someone, it's not entirely obvious if you're flirting with them or not, and that's kind of the point. So, like, flirting is a thing humans do where it's almost a risk-free way to express interest in someone because you kind of have an out where it's like there's like a am I flirting, am I not flirting kind of thing, and that's actually how you're supposed to flirt. If it's not clear if you're flirting or not, you're probably doing it right, because there's a difference between like flirting with someone and expressing like explicit interest, which sometimes that's totally fine to be like, I like you, you know, like that's fine. But like when you're flirting with someone or when you're like on a first date with someone, like sometimes the way that the first date is asked is it's like, hey, do you want to like get coffee? And it's unclear if you're getting coffee as friends, if you're getting coffee like for like relationship, if you just want to get coffee, you know, like the lack of clarity is by design. It's not, I know it's confusing. The lack of clarity is by design, and it kind of gives both people an out. Like that's part of the purpose. So like let's say someone's like, hey, do you want to meet for coffee? Both people are going to be thinking like, what does that mean? Like what, wait, why does it show my mic is muted when it's not muted? I don't know. I'm not going to press the buttons. Everybody can hear me. So if someone's like, hey, do you want to grab coffee sometime? Or do you want to like get something to eat? The reason they don't say necessarily, hey, would you like to go on a date with me? Is because like the rejection is like very clear, where it's like the offer is, do you want this to be a date? That offer is like, I don't know if I want this to be a date. Maybe, maybe not. And you could totally ask that way. That's fine. But that's not how people often ask for dates. Oftentimes it'll be like, you want to get food? And they're like, I like to eat food. Think about what we ask to do. We ask people if they want to get food. You know why? Because we have to eat food. Also, you have something to do if the person's like not that interesting. Because it's like, let's say that you invite someone to eat food, and then you eat food, and then you leave. Like, let's say they didn't even show up. You still ate food, you know? Like, it didn't suck that much. It only sucks a lot if that person's, like, the worst. So, a lot of what human behavior do, like in, like, romantic instances, is ambiguous by design when first, like, meeting with the person. So, I have been on dates before that it was never really said whether or not it was a date. And then usually along the way in the date, it's like decided, right? So if you like go meet someone for coffee and you're talking, drinking coffee, you're like kind of like interested. Sometimes you're like, hey, do you want to get coffee like again sometimes? And usually with the second time they're invited, it might be more clear about like the intention of it. Or it's like decided during that time, right? So you're actually like adorable, so like this is a date, right? Like, you know, like that's like a thing that people do. Or if they find them like really interesting, they might be like, oh, like you seem like a really cool person to be friends with. Do you want to like go like play video games sometime, or like go on a walk or something? Or like, I want to hang out with you again, but like you're like a cool person as like a friend. And that's not a rejection in that instance, unless you were really hoping it was a date, but you never like said anything, you never expressed it. So it's like, one of the reasons why dates can be like really ambiguous like that is because you don't really know the other person that you're trying to go on a date with. So the meeting them is part of the figuring it out. So if you want to go have coffee with someone because you think they're like, they might be interesting, maybe they're like a little bit attractive, and then you go like with them to get coffee, you'll figure out whether or not you want to be on a date with that person, or if you just want to drink coffee with that person, or if you want to leave. Was that a good answer? Did I explain that? I guess that I didn't answer your question, because your question was how many dates have I been on, but then you were asking questions about the date thing. But did that make sense, what I said? Okay, okay. So how many dates have I been on? I don't know. I'd say probably like a lot. I've had a lot that have been clear that they were dates. You said how many first dates? I'd have to think about it because I don't really know, but I'd say like maybe like around 20-ish or so. That were like clear it was first dates. Could be more, could be less. I don't know. That number sounds kind of an ad.
Picking up the tab if I needed to. Hey, Alok, they like the orange shirt more. Or joking.
I can change.
Okay. I picked out that shirt and he was like, this shirt is terrible.
That's not what I said.
Well, you said atrocious, I think.
No, I did not say that.
That's a word you use, though.
It is a word I use, not about that shirt.
Which shirt?
The other shirts.
The other shirts I bought you.
I don't think I usually call things that you buy me atrocious.
Not usually.
But I have been known to use that word.
I know you to use that word quite liberally.
But not with you.
Not okay. Just when I leave. right after I leave. Atrocious.
Yeah, for other people. That's for other people.
Do you want to come up here? Should I move over?
I think this is like a single mic setup. That's why I think if you want me to take
Dr.K, come closer.
you can finish your drink. What do you feel like doing?
I just am settling in.
Okay, because there's one call that I think both of us need to listen to if we want to do that.
Trevor, what should we do? I see some good questions in chat.
Yeah, why don't you just take questions? I'm just chilling.
Whenever you're ready, I have one for all oak, but take your time.
Okay. Alok, they do have one for you.
Okay.
Ad done. Okay, so did you want me to like, you were asking how many dates I've been on? Like first dates? Okay. Some of them have been clear in first dates. Some of them have been like clear later on. Like let's say we're like, oh, do you want to like get food here sometime? And they're like, yeah, and then we do it. And then like along the way it's a date. But you said, I'll just say like the ones where it's explicitly said, where like it's a date, or is it kind of clearer? Maybe around like 20 or so. A lot of them were kind of designed to probably be like a one-time thing. Other ones, less clear. Yeah, I think maybe like around 20. Probably a little more, probably a little less. But the thing is, it's like, I don't really count. It's just like, I was a whore, so, you know.
Then do you want to swap?
No, I just want to answer a couple questions and give it to you.
Okay, answer your
how to make a first move as a girl. I'll show you. You look, and you're kind of like, maybe? And then you look, and you're like, yep.
Wait, show me again.
That's kind of working.
Do it again.
I can't
No, you have to do it.
do it to the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a girl. You're
She's a girl.
the person I'm interested in and making a move on. So I'm gonna look at you, and I'm gonna be like, whoa. And then you're gonna see the question on my face, like, And I'm gonna kind of give you like an affirmative, like, yeah, this could be something. And then I'm gonna look away. And then you're gonna
Okay, let's try this chat where it's like. Did that work for you, chat? Did that one get you? Where I was like. How did we feel about that? Is everyone in chat in love with me now?
gonna think you hallucinated the whole thing.
Okay, but
Have you
You ordering
ever
your food.
actually done that?
To you? So many times.
No, but I don't think you do it that way. You do it.
Oh, he's about
I
to
do
tell it to the truth.
Like, if I need a waiter, it's like, maybe I need help. That's how I get, huh?
that's more closer to the. There's a big difference.
Okay.
Okay.
But no, yeah, I used to do that to you all the time. You called me out on it a long time ago. I don't know if you remember.
What?
You were like, why do you keep looking at me like that? But you used to say you liked it when I looked at you like that.
I do. I like it when you look at me.
Yeah. Okay,
You guys ready to meet Blaze?
let's meet Blaze. You need Alok to take it, right?
Yeah, it is for all oak. I'm sure Blaze wouldn't mind if you were there, but also let's give Blaze a camera feed on Discord.
I'll figure that out. Thank you.
Can I sit over here with the plushie?
Hey Blaze,
You can sit
you're
over there with
live
the
on Healthy
plushie
Gamer.
or if you want to grab me a drink,
Hello.
you can.
Do you want to share this one?
No.
Would
How
you
is
want-
it?
It's good.
Okay. I tried to froth it a lot. It's deflated. Okay, hold on a second. So these other set of headphones will work if you want to listen, but if this is, I don't know if this is. Okay, hold on. Let me. All right, Trevor. What are we doing?
We'll go interview with Blaze here. He's in the channel now.
Okay, let me.
You
just,
see my camera right now or no?
I think I don't see your camera.
there-
There we go. Hey,
Yeah,
what's up,
waffle.
boss?
Hello. What's
Okay,
up?
let
See?
me just make sure
Help, Dr. K just came on stream already having a bunch of tech stuff he's dealing with, Brim.
that are
Give him the maybe face.
Nice.
okay. The maybe face.
I just
Okay,
skipped a little bit.
what's up, Blaze? Talk to me, bro.
What's up? Okay, do you want me to just go straight in with a question or
Whatever you think is best.
okay, I'll go straight in. So my question is why my sense of self-worth is closely tied to external validation and what to do about it.
Okay.
Good question.
Why do you think it's closely tied to? How do you know it's tied to self? What makes you think your self-worth is tied to external validation? Let's start there.
I mean, it's something I picked up on, but only after other people pointed it out to me.
Chat, this is how you win in life and relationships. Get you a beautiful wife husband that brings you waffles while you stream.
So I don't know if there's any like really good examples I have.
Okay.
But like when other people do things that validate me, then I'll like feel happy, and it kind of is like tied to my mood.
Okay.
But only in social situations. If I'm on my own, I'm genuinely like.
Pookie, pay close attention to the answer Dr. K says about this question. Doesn't apply to you.
Usually content with things.
So if other people respond to you positively, then
Yeah, then I'm in a good mood. But if they respond negatively, then it kind of shuts me down.
Can you give me an example of someone responding to you negatively?
Okay, so this is a really bad example, but
Awesome,
so
love
we're
it.
playing Mario Kart,
Okay.
and for some reason, it's really important to me that I win because I feel like I'm the best, so I feel like I should win. And then if I don't win, I'd be like a little bit annoyed. I don't know, but then because I like I'm happy that I won, even though like it was like a predictable thing. Other people are like, it's kind of, you don't have to be like prideful about it or whatever. But like I was just genuinely happy, and then that kind of, then because they're like not validating my feelings, then I just feel really shit about myself, and then kind of, you know what I mean?
Okay, so when you, it seems like she has. Do you want to?
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay, she says she knows what you
I
mean.
know what you mean.
So let me ask you. Okay, so so you can feel a certain way about yourself, but it sounds like when you receive a different perspective from other people, that really bothers you.
Yeah, if it's like not in agreement with how I feel that things are.
Okay. Do you remember? Was there a time? And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 25.
Okay. Is there a time when you were younger where you were really excited about something and then you discovered that like other people were not were really not happy about something? Was there like a time when you were much younger where
I mean, school was a tough time. I feel like I was at the bottom of the food chain in school.
okay,
So it was, I don't know. I feel like my amygdala is probably a bit oversensitive, but
nice. I mean, not nice
yeah.
that your amygdala is oversensitive. Nice that you
I
have
get it.
have the command of that terminology. Yeah. So tell me a little. Okay. So bullying.
I'm gonna go make you
This is-
something to drink, but Blaze, you're adorable. So just don't
Thank
listen
you.
to the haters. Just
It's hard to. This is gonna get knocked off though. The setup is.
I'm just saying you're adorable and don't listen to the haters. He'll give you real advice, but
I
think,
appreciate it.
I
Yeah.
think just not everybody's feedback is worth taking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you, but I think the feedback that I get from the people I care about most is the stuff that affects me the most.
Yeah. Well, maybe there's something there. I can help you with that. But I think you're
Thank
adorable.
you.
Yeah. So when you say the
that was
feedback
cute.
that you get from the people that you care about the most is what affects you the most, can you give me an example of that?
Yeah. So my best friend, she's amazing, and she's probably the person I talk to most about like any emotional kind of stuff. So yeah, that's often where we clash and have our issues. But
Can you give me an example of clash and have issues?
I mean, stuff's been tough in general recently. I feel like I was emotionally invested in her like for like a long time, and I probably still am, but not in like a romantic way anymore. Um, so I don't know. It kind of anything she does affects me more than it should.
What does that mean, emotionally invested in her?
Why'd you? That's what I'm saying. Eating my waffle, bro. I'm like.
Like an emotional bond, like probably hormones involved.
Okay. So I'll ask again. So bonding is one thing, investment is another. So what does it mean to be emotionally invested in her?
That's a tough question. I don't
Yeah.
know how to answer that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do
probably.
you? So let's try a couple of options. Number one is that your emotions are highly responsive to her.
Yeah, I'd say that's true.
Okay. Let me just think about what is. Yeah. So when we're emotionally invested in something, we kind of peg or attach our emotions to something, right? So
Chat. When I'm emotionally invested, I also peg.
like if I'm emotionally invested in my children, if my children do well, my emotions go up. And if my children do poorly, my emotions go down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like your emotional state is tied to someone else. Is that fair to say?
Probably not as much anymore, but in the past, definitely a lot.
Okay. Do you remember what? Is there a particular thing that comes to mind as to like why you did that? Like I know it's hard to say, but like, what about that appealed to you? Let's put it that way.
You mean becoming emotionally invested
Yeah.
in her?
Yeah.
I just thought she was a great person. I don't think it happened like intentionally. It just
Of
happened
course.
over time.
And so you thought she was a great person, and how does that affect you?
I think I care more about what she says because I value her opinion more than others.
Okay. How do you value your own opinion?
Probably higher than hers, but it's still very important to me. So like probably second to none.
Okay, what's important about if she approves of what you do, right? If she likes what you do, what does that do for you?
I feel happy.
Okay.
I feel validated. I don't know.
What do you associate with her approval, right? So there's some value with her approval. Like, what does it say about you when she approves?
I don't know, that I'm good enough, or
is that it?
Probably. Like if I think back to like when I was in school and I thought I wasn't good enough because that's how other people treated me, and then she's saying you are good enough, then that's kind of going against what I think about myself or what I thought about myself in the past.
Okay. I mean, does that, so I'm kind of like arguably leading you there, but does that feel like I can't tell if I am or not, but does that map on to your experience?
I think somewhat, yeah. I don't know if it's like entirely, I don't know how important like a validation from a specific person is. I think obviously hers is slightly like higher ranked, but I think in general I care about, I don't know. I think probably, you're probably right.
What does it feel like when people don't give you that validation?
I don't know, I feel like rejected, I guess.
Okay. Thank you. Cheers. So
what's he drinking?
Okay, you feel rejected. And your original question was, how do you not be this way?
Yeah, how do I not tie that like feeling of rejection to actually, or like, I don't know, what other people say to how I actually feel? Like, how do I sort of detach that?
Okay, excellent. Excellent question. So when you get rejected by someone, what does it say about you?
Technically nothing. It could say more about the other person than it says about me. I don't know. It depends on the situation, I suppose.
Technically, you're correct, right? But practically, what happens when you
I probably feel bad.
Right? So what does it say about you?
Like, I don't know, someone worth rejecting, or like something's wrong with me that I should be rejected.
Is there something wrong with you that should be rejected?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. So you have another thought?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a great question. So I can see, and it's Blaze, is that right?
I mean, Blaze or Sean. I think Blaze is my internet name, and then Sean is my real life name.
What do you prefer?
I don't mind. I really don't mind.
Okay. So Blaze, I think so.
What hit hard about it?
So the first thing that's super clear to me is that you're like on the path of development. Right? So,
yeah, for sure.
So like that's like super clear. So I think that in a sense, the first thought that I have is that this is a temporary problem. So I could like, because you're already moving past it, right? So you're able to separate out, okay, this thing happens to me and I experience this thing, but it used to be worse. It is less so now.
Yes, I know what question you're saying hit hard. I'm saying what hit hard about it for you? What made it hit hard?
It still happens. I'm not quite sure. You're able to see that your self-worth, you already have a sense that your self-worth is not determined by the validation of others. But there's this really annoying thing, which is that even though one part of you knows that, when someone rejects you, like, you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, that's not the way that it's supposed to be, but it happens. Okay?
Definitely.
Yeah, so I think you're, so big picture is you just keep doing what you're doing and you'll get there. We'll help you speed things along. But I think first thing is to be a little bit aware of that chain of events, right? So when you get rejected, and it's not even that I don't even think you get rejected. I think that people give you contrary information, right? So you think one thing and they think something else. And then there's something about that experience which causes a part of your brain to default to theirs. Okay, so it triggers, oh shit, I'm wrong.exe. Is that okay? So now there's a couple of important questions. One thing that you can do is just be aware of that and really tunnel down into the chain. This person said this, and it's not about even trying to change. It's about what part of me is like behaving in this way. Because technically it doesn't say anything about me, but why do I feel like it does say something about me? Because you do feel that way, which is actually totally fine, right? So I would say like taking a more curious approach when things are like hot and live for you can be incredibly helpful. You'll probably find some kind of connection. That's number one. Second thing is, so you learned at some point that it is dangerous to have an opinion that is not congruent with other people. Right? So somewhere, right? So you realized when people disagree, panic. And what you also learned is that when people disagree, the safest thing to do is to adopt their viewpoint, because holding your
Does that not go hard, chat?
viewpoint is a bad idea. Okay? Does that bring up anything for you?
Yeah, school times, definitely. I would try and avoid conflict at all costs.
Okay, very good. Okay. So tell me more about how you learned to avoid conflict.
I don't know. I don't really remember much about school time.
Okay.
I feel like I just remember it being like a bad time.
Okay.
And that I was like at the bottom of the food chain. So it wasn't super terrible, I think. Like it wasn't like super physical bullying or whatever, but it was kind of just not being seen or like just not being included, like just rejected straight up. So
right. So and you made attempts to be seen.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And when you made attempts to be seen, what happened?
The rejection was worse.
Right? And so then at some point you started becoming invisible.
So he was like not popular, like kind of like not included in a lot of social stuff. So when he did things the way he wanted to and the way that he felt, he got like rejected for it. So then he learned, oh, if I want to be included, I just have to be what everyone else wants me to be.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to stop trying to convince these people that I'm worth playing with on the playground, because it just doesn't work. So I think that's the key thing. Somewhere along the way, you say you're conflict avoidant. So when you're proud at of playing Mario Kart, so here we go. So when you're proud of winning at Mario Kart and people are like, hey man, why are you being so arrogant about it? Why are you rubbing it in our face? You know, for you to say, because I won, bitches. And you guys, if you guys can't understand what it's, you know, I don't, I'm being facetious, but like you kind of know what I mean? Like in that moment, I can imagine that is really hard for you to actually hold your ground. I would imagine that it's actually terrifying for you to say, you know what, I'm celebrating because I won. And like when because I'm better, people win, it's okay to celebrate. You don't have to take it personally, bro. My guess is that would be really hard for you.
I don't know if it would be, but I've never really thought about trying to stand my ground in that way.
Very good, right? So I agree with you that I don't think it would be. I think it has been. And that doesn't, because I think you're clearly developed.
I don't think it would be. I think it has been. Y'all should think about that.
Developing.
Yeah.
So I think like that idea, right? So even the possibility of like holding your ground hasn't crossed your mind. And if you never hold your ground, their opinions are going to come in. Right? So I'd say hold your ground when you believe something about yourself, and recognize that that too is going to feel primitively fearful. So here's what I mean by that, okay? So if this stuff happened before you had a solid like memory, the feeling that you're going to get is not articulatable. It's like a 6-year-old or 7-year-old feeling of conflict avoidance. So it'll feel really odd. It'll feel really primitive. You won't quite like know how to put it into words. You may not even be able to describe, like it may not be anger or shame. Does that kind of make sense? So remember that when you have traumatic experiences as a child, just like if you draw a picture when you're 5, as your ability to draw improves when you're 25, the picture doesn't improve, right? So when something is laid down on paper or laid down in your brain, it retains that level of resolution. So it may be confusing because you may not be able to put it precisely into words, but it'll feel like a primitive conflict avoidance if you stand up for yourself. And basically, why do things affect you? Because you don't stand up for yourself. And when you stand up for yourself, you will start to harden the barriers of the self-esteem. Because I can see that you're developing your self-esteem on your own. It's just something about that development goes out the window when you are with some people. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's where we gotta tie those two things together.
That's good.
Beautiful question.
I like to.
I think a lot of my approach for managing life is kind of recommending people opt out. I guess not recommending, that's a word, but my approach personally, at least, is to opt out of a lot of like silly social rules and like even thought processes and things that a lot of people tend to do, like things like gender roles, for example. I opt out. Things like family roles, I think I tend to opt out of those because a lot of the roles are like silly and like just socially constructed and not that helpful oftentimes. But I'm glad that he's also explaining like how to opt in if that's something that he wants to do. And I think I want to make more opt-in content, meaning like if someone's like a man in a relationship and they want to be like a stereotypical, like they want like the gender role of like a man in a relationship, how can they like fulfill that and like do that and live as a man in society, for example? Or like how to be a girly and be a girly.
Your answer was very informative.
Great. Any follow-up questions, or is that good?
No, that was good. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome, dude.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks a
All
lot,
right.
Blaze.
Thanks.
We're going to take questions from chat, right?
Can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
Questions from chat.
This kind of reminds me of our kids, right? Because one of our kids like has a point of view and gets rejected a lot because of her point of view and the way she likes to do things. And I feel like what we're teaching her is so interesting. I'm glad you like it. It is, but like I'm going low. But you know what I mean? It reminds me of like some of what we're teaching our kids and like, okay, read the room. If you really like feel this way and you want to have like a conflict about it, here's how to navigate the conflict. Is this ringing a bell to you at all?
Yeah, but it's interesting because I can't figure out which kid you're talking about.
She's like saying this is just like what we're teaching this specific kid that's having this problem, and he's just like, we have kids.
That's the thing, because one of our
think that's funny.
kids will avoid the conflict and will just go with the flow. And one of our kids is like, screw this, I'm better than everybody at Mario Kart, and I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna, and she will really like stand her ground. And I just wonder what it is that makes her so confident in being able to stand her ground and like kind of doesn't care about the rejection.
Yeah.
And the other one really cares about the rejection.
So it's a really cool observation. So I think this is where I think sometimes a child, it's not that she doesn't care about the rejection. Rejection actually hurts her quite a bit. It's that she doesn't realize that the rejection is happening until it happens. And then when she gets very, very activated and angry and hurt, she kind of like locks down, right? So she'll leave the room, she'll kind of pout. She has intense emotions that she has difficulty handling. So she is oblivious to rejection at the beginning because she, I think, has social difficulties. She's neurodiverse, right? So she like doesn't read the room. And then she ends up.
Anyone else in chat not know how to read the room because they're neurodiverse?
Getting too caught up. So these are her challenges. One is that she has a difficulty with empathy. She has.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, okay, we have two kids. One like is super conflict avoidant, and the second one will like fight over the dumbest things. And like conflict does not faze her until she realizes, oh no, I have no friends anymore.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that conflict doesn't faze her. I would say that one of them avoids conflict and one of them blunders into conflict without being aware. Yeah. Right? So one of them is conflict avoidant because she can read the room. Yeah. And she is somewhat sensitive to other people liking her or not liking her. I think that in turn is actually probably due to the fact that she was such a warm and exceptional kid early on. Like I remember we had I got you.
You remember?
Yeah, I remember that like we had family members that were blown away by how compassionate she was at the age of 3. Yeah. So she was observant. I had a family member who had an autoimmune disease and was having difficulty like walking. And she like noticed that he was having difficulty walking. And then she was like 3 and she walked over and she's like, hey, can I help you stand up? And people were like, this is insane. So I think then what happened is she started to develop this identity of being warm, compassionate, friendly. She's likable, right? She's like charismatic, knows how to get people to like her. Yeah. And then in that process, she sort of really like solidified into that. So she's almost hyper aware, has a lot of difficulty pissing people off, even when they deserve to be pissed off. Yeah. And the other one is oblivious to conflict until it happens, hits her in the face. She realizes, I don't think she even realizes what the problem is. She just, then things fall apart. And then she gets amygdalar hyperactivity and then she kind of like locks down. Yeah. But I think I'm working with both of them on both of those things.
Yeah. Can we do the super chats and then
yeah. There was some
catching strays. There's some really good questions in chat. I don't
so
know if Trevor's okay with us taking a couple of these.
Yeah. Let's take a couple. So Dr. K and Mrs. K, what are your Enneagram types? Are men trash? Do you want to? We have to figure this out if you're here.
Just move over.
Yeah, let me move. But there's also this height difference because that chair is a shouty. Okay. So what are your Enneagram types? Are men trash? Why or why not?
What's an Enneagram?
An Enneagram is a system of personality analysis that is not super evidence-based.
Is this the MBTI?
No, it's not MBTI. MBTI is ultimately based on Jungian, like archetypal kind of stuff.
Okay,
well,
what's an Enneagram then?
An Enneagram, it's just like a different system of personality analysis.
Okay, but do you know how to answer this question? What are our types?
I don't know what our types are.
Okay.
I don't put a whole lot of stock in Enneagram, but I think that it can still be functionally useful as a lens for people to understand themselves. And it's just one of the systems I haven't studied.
You're an INTJ, right? And I'm an ENTP, I think.
No, I'm just thinking about it. I may be INTJ.
I know. That's why I said you're an INTJ.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry.
Does anyone know like their type, like INTJ, like they just said? I never took the test because I thought it was like kind of BS, and I don't really like trust what it means. And also, I think it's like I don't know. That's it.
Sorry, I
Are
was.
men trash? No. Easy. No, men are not trash.
Why or why not?
I think people can be trash. I think men can be trash in a certain way. But
I don't think anyone is trash. I think many people believe they are trash, so they behave with that belief. Where it's like, if I think I am garbage, what does garbage do? I'm gonna do garbage things. But I don't think it's like an objective thing about that person. But if someone's behaving like trash, it's kind of fair for someone to look at them and be like, hey, that thing behaving like trash is trash. So like, I think that it's like fair for people to call them that, but also like, I don't think it's who they like truly are.
I love men. And men love me. Sorry. Okay, let's move.
No, I mean, I don't.
You're
I don't think men are trash.
INFP?
I think that. I mean, I think it's like a very simplistic view, right? So it's really easy to.
Do you know,
It's really easy to.
like, if someone says their letters, do you know what that means? Like, if they just say it, or do you just know yours?
Lump all types of people together
No, okay.
cognitively.
Because I
Like,
like you
it's
said
really easy to do
INFP.
that. You
I
just
don't
be
know what
like-
none of that means. Like, do they mean something?
But I don't
um,
think that's the case. I think it's an
Like, do the letters stand for something that's like useful for me to know, or do I have to like study something to know?
unsophisticated analysis.
It's an acronym. What's I stand for?
Okay. How good is having a growth mindset for your mental health?
Compared to a fixed one? So I think it's a great question. So generally speaking, growth mindset is superior to fixed mindset. But this is where we have to understand a nuance about science, right? So if we take 100 people who have a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, the people with a growth mindset will outperform the people with a fixed mindset over periods of time in some ways. But I think what's really tricky is that there's a toxic version of a growth mindset, which is like to be obsessive with growth. If I'm not the smartest person in the room, I mean, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room, right? Like there's sort of this attitude. So I think generally,
Would you like to leave this room?
Introverted, intuitive, feeling, perceiving. Interesting. Wait, but you said INFP. Where's the N?
I said both versions, so I don't know.
Word.
Um,
That's cool. I mean, I feel like those are kind of
So,
true for you.
I think that generally speaking, I mean, this is something that I'm a big believer in. So, you know, growth mindset and fixed mindset is a lot of this research was done by Carol Dweck. So she had some really, really, really strong studies that suggest a growth mindset, which is not focusing on outcomes, but focusing on actions, right? So what's more important, like doing better on the next test or getting an A or getting a B? So I think focusing on your actions instead of being focused on performance is generally speaking healthier. But this is not a new concept. So I think the most well-known, oldest discussion of this topic. So I'm multiplying how popular this is with how long ago it is probably from the Bhagavad Gita. And in that, Krishna says, as a human being, you're entitled to your actions, not the outcomes of your actions. And that one of the quickest ways to both suck at life and have a lot of suffering is to focus on the outcomes of your actions instead of your actions. And literally, like, it's funny, I was having this conversation earlier today. But literally, like, what you control is like here. And this barely, right? You barely control your thoughts and emotions and things like that. You don't control anything outside of here. And so shifting from trying to control the outside world, which is like somewhat unresponsive to your efforts, somewhat, right? Because there's a lot of dark psychology stuff. There's sociopathy, there's manipulation, there's gaslighting, there's abuse. There are lots of practical ways to control people. So I think we have to like keep that in mind. But I think ultimately growth mindset is better and focus on your actions instead of outcomes.
Okay. And then the next one from Cute Dude 13 is
I think that's interesting talking about growth mindset versus like fixed mindset, because what growth means is to change, usually changing in a way in which you feel is better. What a fixed mindset is to stay the same. And it's like, it is good to take care of yourself and like seek for betterness in your body, mind, and spirit. But it's also okay at times to have a feeling of having arrived, right? So there are journeys in life, but you cannot always be on a journey. There has to be times where you have arrived and you are present and you are there. I think one way that people can be present and have arrived is meditation is the feeling of having arrived. If you're doing that type of meditation where you're present. Also, I think people can fall into self-growth traps where they keep trying to like do stuff to fix things. Like, I have to be better, have to be better, have to be better, have to learn this, have to work on this. And they're kind of like trying to fix all this stuff. It can be good to try to fix those things, but the reason you're doing it matters so much. I myself have fallen into like a self-growth trap for a little bit. I was like thinking one time, I was like, why am I learning all this crap? And it wasn't that I was running to growth, it's that I was running away from something else.
how to get over fear of others knowing or gossiping around me when I get rejected by her. What will they say? What will they think?
What would you say? Dude, I'm farting up a storm. Something's going on.
I think you're safe. I can't detect anything.
Just wait.
I'm serious, it's bad.
Okay. Do you need to leave?
No, I'm saying maybe you need to leave.
Okay. All right.
I'm warning you ahead of time.
Okay. What I would say about how to get over fear of like people talking about you when you kind of make your move is to just kind of own it. Hey, I'm going to shoot my shot. We'll see what happens. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Hey, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm just going to shoot my shot. And that's it. Just own it. There were a couple up there.
Okay. Gossip. I mean.
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah. So about the gossip. I mean, I think when you get.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you. To
Okay.
Do your worst. I'll come
Okay.
back in a little bit. There was one in orange.
I mean, yeah. I think like Kruti's saying, kind of own it, is the right move. I kind of agree. Like, I think you got to just own it. Own it in the sense that, see, when you take actions in the world, the actions are going to have consequences. So if people are going to talk about it, you know, are you going to avoid asking someone out because people are going to talk? And a lot of people say yes. And I think one thing to keep in mind is that when people talk, the people who talk don't talk about it long, right? So like they're going to talk about you because they've got nothing better to do. They have no other substantive form of conversation. And then when something else will happen, and then they'll start talking about something else. So the focus on you is going to be temporary. And also, I think there was a good, someone earlier was talking about, you know, this is a reflection of them. That's not a reflection of you. So there are going to be people who talk. And that's okay. And it's okay to be afraid of that. But I think that the way that you respond to that fear is really important, which is like, great. So you gave them something for them to talk about at the water cooler today. You've done a good deed. You have made their terrible work life a little bit more entertaining. You know, and I think there is an element of owning it, which is like, if people are talking about you, they're like, what are y'all talking about? If you guys have questions, ask, you know? And oftentimes when people like get confronted in that way, I mean, it's really easy to own them. Like, it's like, okay, you guys are gossiping about me. What are people saying? Like, you want to let me in on what people are saying about me? Oh yeah, that you asked this girl out. And it's like, yeah. Can I tell you guys why I asked her out? And then you've got them in the palm of your fucking hand. You're in control of the situation, right? Can I tell you why I asked her out? Oh my God. Did you guys see the text that she sent me the day before I asked her out? Can you guys help me interpret this? Like, was it okay? Like, take a look at this text. Is this a green flag? Like, what's going on? Right? So those are just examples of owning it. And I think generally speaking, owning yourself is one of the best things that you can do. Right. So I was talking to my daughter about this. One of my daughters had a little bit of difficulty in school. And like, I realized like I've never explained to her how useful it is to own your failures. So for a long time, I was running away from my failures, and I was like, oh my God, I failed. I feel terrible. Like, I'm going to hide my grades from my parents. I'm not going to tell anyone, right? So I was like really ashamed of failure, which makes perfect sense. And then I would sort of like try to avoid the failure, but like I would psychologically avoid it. Like I wouldn't, how can I say this? I wouldn't strive to succeed. I would strive to avoid the pain of failure. So I wasn't owning it. I was like trying to do mental gymnastics and figure out ways so that I didn't have to own that I sucked at something and that I had failed. And the moment that you own that, it kind of like half of what drains your energy is the mental gymnastics of avoiding what is true in your life. And you can waste your life. Energy is the mental gymnastics of avoiding what is true in your life.
That is a heavy sentence, bro. One of the things that drains your energy most is doing mental gymnastics to avoid the pain of truth in your life.
And you can waste so much time trying to convince yourself of the truth about who you are. And I think that the really tricky thing is, like, let's say I'm a loser. People will say like, oh, no, you're not a loser. But the problem is that when we think about a term like loser, we think that it's destined, that it's fixed, right? So if I own that I'm a loser in this moment, I can also own that I'm someone who wants to never be a loser again. And I can own that I'm going to change
Any
myself.
losers in chat?
So this is the tricky thing about being a psychiatrist is like, you know, if someone is in a frame of mind where if you show them that they are a loser and they think that that is, loser is about the past. It is about the actions that are completed. It's not about your destiny. But some people believe that past performance is a predictor of future return. But what they say if you day trade is that past performance is not an indicator of future return. Just because a stock went up 100% over the last 5 years doesn't mean that it's going to go up 100% over the next 5.
It's just like, I don't know why his brain went straight to day trading.
This is where I think a lot of people make a pretty big mistake, which is what's the difference between the past and the future is the actions that you take. So if you have been a loser for 10 years of your life, and what were the actions you were taking on a daily basis? If you continue to take those actions, you'll continue to be a loser. But you can change those actions, and that will change the outcome. Okay. I'm going to take... we're going to do one last question, then we'll hop in with the next caller, okay? Let me just make sure that Discord is okay. Yeah, Discord's fine. Okay.
After this question,
when
I'm
hurt
right
or scared, I can become cruel, vindictive,
like
and hurtful
cafecito.
even to those I love the most. I want to be a good person. I don't want to hurt anyone. I am in therapy. Figured I'd ask here too. Things are improving. Okay. Okay. This is great. It's not even a question. It's just a statement. When I'm hurt or scared, I can become cruel, vindictive, or hurtful, even to those I love the most. Okay? So I want to be a good person. So this is what's kind of weird, is what is the relationship between being hurt or scared, becoming cruel, and not being a good person? So I think this is part of the problem, right? So if you say, when I'm hurt or scared, I lash out at other people, that makes me a bad person. And that's like a pretty good argument, right? People who are, when they're afraid, are vindictive or hurtful, that is a bad person. It's a very reasonable thing to believe. But like, that's not really true. Okay, so if we look at it like more precisely, is being vindictive and hurtful to other people? Yes. But that doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a good person to not do that, right? So I think this is what happens when we think this way, is we believe that who we are is kind of determined by our actions, which is like sort of like makes sense. But a bad person can do a good thing, and a good person can do a bad thing. And so I think that this is what I'm trying to say, you add an additional layer of burden onto yourself. I want to be a good person. Because what you're doing there is you're actually like double dipping the hurt, right? There's the hurt of doing the bad action, and then there's the hurt that you pile on top. Oh my God, now I'm an asshole. I knew I was an asshole. I've always been an asshole. So there's the hurt that you did to the other person, and then there's what you pile on top. And the problem is that...
And then you hurt yourself, and then you're a bad person for being mean to yourself.
Thinking that you're a bad person helps you correct behavior up until a point. Right? So if I take a securely attached person with a relatively good upbringing, feeling like you're a bad person will correct behavior because they have the emotional regulation capability. They have the frontal lobe control. They lack the trauma that causes someone to lash out when they're hurt. The problem is that many of these mechanisms, this is what we see with mental illness and in psychiatry, is that the systems that are supposed to protect us start working against us. So guilt is not a bad emotion. Guilt is a very healthy emotion. But when guilt gets out of whack, it becomes this weird self-reinforcing cycle where it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. A really good example of this is you can think about mental illness like an autoimmune disease. The immune system is designed to be helpful. It's designed to attack things and make us healthy. But in certain disease states, that immune system starts attacking things that it's not supposed to be doing. So our treatment is to shut off the immune system. And even in psychiatry, our treatment is shut off guilt. Here's an injection of ketamine. Here's intranasal ketamine. Make the hurt go away. Right? That's what we do. So this is where I think whether you want to be a good person or not doesn't depend so much on your actions. It depends a lot more on your intentions. Now, this is different from saying someone having me in their life is not a net positive. That can be true. If you're hurt, when you're hurt or scared, if you lash out at the people that love you, strong argument to make that you're not a net positive in their life, and you can own that, right? But that doesn't mean you're a good person or a bad person. That just means that you're difficult to have in somebody's life. And you can own that too. And then you can, hey, I'm trying to change. I'm in therapy. I figured I ask here, things are improving. Very good. The last thing is when you're hurt or scared, you can become cruel. And the question is why? Right? So generally speaking, when we feel hurt, like if there's like an animal that is trapped in a corner and I'm trying to be friendly with it, the animal will be hurtful because it's scared. When I attack an animal and the animal fights back, that also is like, we don't say that the animal is bad. Evil animal. Oh my God. I'm trying to pet it. Doesn't understand that I'm trying to love it. You have these reactions, right? So in your brain, you've learned that when in danger, go on the offensive. Now, the cruelty is where things get really interesting. So this is where things get a little bit more psychologically complex. Because to lash out is one thing. To be cruel is to try to inflict pain. It's not self-protection. The goal is harm. So then we get to the deeper versions of ourself. And I've worked with a lot of people who are bad people. Sociopaths at the top of the list. And they have an inclination to be cruel. The most important piece of feedback that I ever got in residency as a second-year resident. And one of my attendings gave me the feedback that she was like, "You're really good with people." And she told me, "I see how you're," basically she was like, "You're not manipulative, but you're like smooth. You're smooth with me. All the nurses love you. All the patients love you." She said, "Use your power for good, not evil." And I was like, "Yes, ma'am." And I took that to heart. So oftentimes when I work with people who are like sociopathic, like, so the other thing is you want to be a good person, but maybe you aren't. What are you going to do about it? Right? So we all have within us, and this is what's kind of messed up. We all have within us the capacity to save a life and the capacity to take a life. Unfortunately, those capacities are not equal for all of us. Some people have hearts of gold. Some people have hearts of kryptonite is maybe a better word. Like not stone. And so like, even if you are a bad person, you don't have to be a hurtful person. You don't have to hurt those around you. You can restrain and control that part of you. Right? And you can strive to be a good person, but still be a bad person.
I'm going to
and like
end
you have to
stream,
recognize
but
that you
before
have
doing
a
that,
demon
I'm actually
inside
going
of you. Some
to
of us
what's it
have
called?
demons inside of us. And we all strive to be good people, but
I'm
like
gonna
this
rate
is so
Healthy
fucked
Gamer.
that we don't say.
So let me skip to like the current moment.
I mean, I'm a musician. I'm
fighting for my life.
Becoming manic and
words and you know, I had a conversation recently where I was like, you know, I think back to like, you know, with a lot of shame that comes with ADHD and a lot of the things that come with it. I talked about how like, you know, like 100 years ago or 200 years ago or 1,000 years ago or whatever, I would not have like a place in society. But then I was like, no, actually, I think that society would have had more a place for me. I think I would have been somebody who helped out in the village with whatever needed help doing. Something like that. So, but anyway, yeah, everything you're saying is spot on. You caught things I didn't even have to tell you. Great stuff. I guess the only follow-up question I really have is, you know, I was talking with my mom the other day. She kind of draws from experience because she went through a similar thing with my stepdad, where he was kind of not really knowing what he wanted to do and ended up becoming a teacher, but had to go back to school for 2 years and kind of be, you know, a drain on their income more or less for a couple of years before he could really figure it out. And she said, you know, we looked for the light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, there were times where we got into fights and fought about finances or fought about whatever responsibilities around the house, whatever it was, through it because we were looking at the light at the end of the tunnel. And I guess we just have a hard time really kind of being future focused in a way that's not just filled with anxiety. We both have anxiety, so it's something that we're both kind of struggling with. So like, what do you maybe have to say on that?
I mean, I get it. I love the light at the end of the tunnel approach of it's really easy to get frustrated and resentful of what feels like wasted time or wasted money. But if you're looking at like, okay, where does this end? Where is this going? I think that's a really great way to look at it. I also understand the anxiety and it being really
I heard
hard
a sound.
to like
I think someone
future
followed
plan
me,
right now.
but I can't view it right now. Who followed? So whoever
With how
followed, thanks for the
chaotic
follow.
things feel. I
If it was a follow.
totally get that.
Wait,
The
I think I
best
found a way.
thing,
Hold
I
on, hold on,
think,
hold on.
is really investing in yourself, right? So it's hard to kind of say like, oh, I'm gonna have a career with this
I
company.
gotta open the thing on
or
mobile
I'm
to
gonna
see.
pursue this degree. You have to always be learning, always be trying stuff. Every Alok was talking about different projects and different passions
H4
and like
VO. Thank you for
how
the
you
follow.
kind of have to keep learning. But I think the activating something is the most important part. Yeah, you can learn a million different things, but if you never do anything with it, then what's the point? So the activating things and trying is the most important part. The skill set to be able to do something for 2 years, learn for something, maybe the 2-year thing becomes a 10-year thing, but maybe it doesn't work and you have to do the next thing. So knowing when to cut your losses, knowing when to pivot, and knowing when to say like, okay, I tried this. This is as far as I can take this right now. We're on to the next is also really important. And it's going to feel scary to kind of be like, well, then what did I just do for those last 2 years? But as you're